After parking in the Upper Derwent Visitor Centre where this route starts, I was very eager to give myself a good old stretch. The day before this run, I did a half marathon in the Peak District. I've already done a video about that particular run if you wanted to check it out. The first descent of the route sends you flying through a trench-like trail past the evacuating sheep and lambs, and they weren't best pleased about my heavy footsteps disturbing their serenity. At the bottom of this trail you'll cross the River Ashup, and from here you'll begin the 5-kilometre ascent up to the top of Win Hill. The trail that takes you up to Win Hill has a lot of what I like in a climb. It has lots of different scenery, starting with the river, into a luscious evergreen forest, and then opening up to show off the surroundings in the Peak District. It picks up a ridge and the gradient becomes quite subtle as well.
It's quite magnificent, really, isn't it? It's good. See over there. That's where we're going.
And soon you'll be atop the rocky peak of Win Hill. And from here you can see exactly where you've just come from at the Ladybower Reservoir. You can also see towns such as Bamford and Hope, and also a fair chunk of the route to come. From the top of Win Hill, you're only 1,500 metres from running across the Ladybower Dam. But in that 1,500 metres, you'll need to drop 300. The trail that I took to get down was runnable and very fun at first, and then it got quite sketchy, especially with all the rain and moisture that was on this day. When you go under the trees and into this narrow gorge, the drop to the right gets quite aggressive, and I knew that if I overcooked it and went off the side, then I wouldn't get a second chance to have another go at it. There's a few trails that draw you off to the left, which would also get you down to Ladybower, but I quite enjoyed staying on this one. It was quite exhilarating. Once you've done that, you can relax a bit now, as Ladybower is approaching. I had a little stop at this vantage point of the reservoir and reached for the cashews that I packed into my running bag. I really liked how this trail was carved into the side of quite a steep hill, and it just provided an ever-changing perspective of Ladybower. But as you turn off this trail and head towards the north, the intensity picks up again. It's around 200 metres up over the next 2 kilometres or so. But don't worry, because when you get to the top, you're rewarded with all of the elements just slapping you really hard in the face. And for me on that day, those elements were strong winds and sideways rain. I found myself on the Derwent Moors, and they provided little cover for me. I took the Derwent Edge to Back Tor, and along the way you'll pass Ladybower Tor, Lead Hill, and my favourites, which were the Wheelstones. They're these cluster of gritstone rocks that have been sculpted by brutal winds such as the like on the day I was up there. You spend about 5 kilometres on the Derwent Edge, and towards the end of that 5k you'll see the peak of Back Tor. It provided a nice shelter from the winds and a calm place to finish off my cashews. I headed north from here again towards Abbybrook. The final trails that took me back to the start were my favourite that I had experienced that day.
Holy shit, this is amazing.
There was a stunning one with a hard drop to the right where the Abbybrook was in full flow. And the views were just lovely, really, really lovely. You'll continue alongside the Abbybrook until it blends into the Upper Derwent Reservoir. And to get back to your starting point, follow the trail south that runs along the reservoir to the Derwent Dam. If you fancied adding more kilometres on though, it's easy to head north past the Howden Dam and it will open up a plethora of wonderful trails. By the time I got to the end, I was incredibly damp, but very, very satisfied with the day's work. I bought a massive Bakewell slice and a hot chocolate from the visitors centre to replenish my sugars and enjoyed it on a bench looking out onto Ladybower. This was a stunning trail and it takes you past some lovely hidden history of the Peak District. And to find out more about this route and other routes, then please do head over to my website, where you too can submit some of your favourite running trails to get featured on there.